before we go, like the audio is in and out.
Hello,
Is it for
everybody,
you all
and
or just me?
we're on live now, Joe. So, hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Simply Funded. We are your favorite lender. We focus on helping people get properties, especially investors and self employed individuals. And this is officially 2024. Some of you may be looking to build your portfolio. And of course, right now is also tax season. So I thought a great person to bring on, actually, two people. Are, these individuals are tax specialists in the real estate world. So, Joe, Bruce, welcome.
Thank you very much, Cheree, for inviting me.
Absolutely. So before we get started with your presentation,
Thank you,
tell us like
Cheree.
really, oh, you're welcome. Joe, tell us really quickly about yourself. And, you and I recently met because you are a realtor now with the Kaza Group. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay,
Joe?
wonderful. So this topic tonight is on taxation. I began my career many decades ago working in the area of taxation. And of course, naturally, when you study taxation and actually work in firms that do taxation, you start to invest. And so we're going to specifically speak related to real estate investing for tonight, but all sorts of investing, no matter what type of investing you're doing, it's very important that you start with the taxation portion and the tax code before you venture into any investment. So that's what brought me here. Now at the Kaza Group, I'm excited. I work with clients that are interested in investing in real estate and becoming full-time real estate investors.
And I have a passion for real estate investors as well because it is one of the ways that ordinary people can, if you still want to work a W-2 or something like that, you can do that and yet build wealth, either as, passive income or a side business or something like that through real estate investing. So I'm super excited to have Bruce here this evening as well. So Bruce, would you just tell everybody really
Right.
quickly about yourself, and then we're going to get started with your presentation?
Sure. Hi, my name is Bruce Kowal. I'm a CPA. I work in the Metro New York area. This is from my LinkedIn page. I look a little older in the picture. I most of my work is individual taxation. I do some work with tax resolution. People get in trouble with the IRS, and I have a fair number of clients who are in various stages of real estate. So I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's just get
All right.
started. Thanks, Bruce. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
I just want to go over what are the top real estate breaks to begin with, and this is going to be an interesting way I'm going to approach this. There are four different breaks. One of them, the most important one, is you limit how much is at risk. This is the common element of a tax shelter. What does that mean? You buy a house, you put 20% down, and you borrow 80%, right? But if you're investing, you get to depreciate the full price of it, not just what you have at risk. So that's the magic. That's the main shelter in real estate, that you can borrow money, which is what you do for a living, and you can depreciate. You can write off that cost, even though the amount of skin you have in the game is only 20%. All right, that's the biggest break in real estate. The other one is there is special treatment of losses if you're a real estate professional. And we'll get to that later. That's a term of art. Not everyone is a real estate professional in the eyes of the IRS. And for people with lesser incomes, if you have like a small rental property, you can deduct up to $25,000 in those losses. Another thing a real estate break is you can delay recognition of the gains. You make a big profit, You can postpone paying tax. You can do a like-kind exchange. You can find a similar property and, take the money and buy that. Or you can go into what's called opportunity zones. They're expiring soon, but that's a break. That's a delay the recognition of the gain, special treatment of losses, and just you limit how much is at risk. Plus, state and local governments, they're always giving special treatment. Now, let's look at, I want to compare real estate with stocks, because the question is, if you're not going to make a decent return, why get into real estate? So let's go over the capital gains treatment. If you hold your property for more than a year and you're making over $500,000, you're paying 20% tax rate on your capital gains. If you're lesser amount, you see I'm pointing here, 94,000 to 583, you're paying 15%. And if you make even less, you're going to pay zero tax rate. Can you imagine that? If you're half broke or for whatever reason you don't have much adjusted gross income, $0 to $94,000, your capital gains rate is zero. Keep that in mind.
And if I may, I mean, this is how the rich get richer. This is how individuals like, love him or hate him, a Donald Trump gets, is able to not pay taxes, etc. So I always encourage people to learn the game and be able to use the rules like everybody else does.
Good point. Why is real estate different? Let's think about when you buy a stock, okay? Let's say you pay $10 a share and you sell it for $11. Okay, that's easy. What has happened? Two things. You got your money back, your $10. That's your return of your investment. That's called an ROC, return of capital. And for good measure, you had a gain of $1, a profit of $1. That's called return on your investment. They call that ROI. And sometimes, just to confuse all of us, sometimes both of the returns are called ROI. So when you buy and sell a stock, if it's profitable, you get a return of your capital and you get a return on your investment. You got your money back and you made a buck. Everyone can follow that, right? Well, what about real estate? If you buy a house for the purpose of renting it, what happens? You buy it, you rent it, you hold it for some number of years, and you sell it. You may have to wait years to get your money back, your return on capital. And then hopefully you'll also have a gain, a profit on the sale. And you hope you have positive cash flow during the rental period. So why on earth would you want to tie up your money in a house for, say, 10, 20, or 30 years? Unless you are making money currently and hope to profit from a sale. What's the alternative to getting in real estate? You could buy what are called spiders. These are a exchange-traded fund, and they track the S&P 500. And you can see down here, the total return, 2022 was a bad year. 2023 was a terrific year. You see how it goes here? 13%, 12%, -4%, -18%. But the average return over 15 years is 13.5%, right up here. In 5 years, you might see a 50% return on investment, unrealized, okay? If you can't beat that, don't go into real estate, right? And real estate is very labor intensive. It's a lot of work. And if you can't beat that, you might as well just buy spiders. Okay, what does stock investing lack? It lacks financial leverage, it lacks owner's sweat equity, and it lacks tax leverage. All of these three add value, real and intangible. Of course, there's another use of real estate for someone who is active. What's they call that on Bigger Pockets? Buy, fix up, and sell. There's a special word for that. That's called flipping.
Reverse strategy.
Yeah, I mean, you see a house and you know that you can bring your team in and fix it up and sell it in 12 months. And then there's no special breaks. You just get capital gains if property is held for more than a year. Yeah, and a lot of people do that.
Say rehabbing.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. But to do that successfully year after year, that's very intensive work. You have to have your own crew, your team of people to get that thing going. But that's also another use of real estate. Okay, so if you know that...
Which we do have at the Casa Group, shameless plug.
Continue. Go ahead. Tell us.
Sorry, Bruce. No, that's okay. I said, sorry, Bruce.
Okay.
Going back to you.
Okay, so what's the incentive to go into real estate if you can put your money in spiders and make 50% in 5 years? Well, Congress decided that building homes was a national goal. So building anything was a great achievement. So what they did is they the people who do this, who buy stocks, they're wealthy, they have financial planners. Okay, we don't have any of that. Let me go on here. What is financial leverage? This is what Cheree is into. This is debt. You invest 20% cash, the lender gives you 80.
I have those investors.
Am I right there?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. You invest 20% cash, the lender gives you 80%. That's your leverage. And it gets much, much better. That asset you purchase for cash, as I described earlier, every year you depreciate some of it. That loan, like magic, is considered to add to your cost. This is the tax shelter. You're writing off an expense for which you are not out of pocket. You got to keep that in mind. It's what makes real estate unique. It's also the same thing going on with the depletion allowance for oil and gas properties. And this tax shelter is written into law by Congress, the Internal Revenue Code. We talked about that. Okay. Let me go on. The magic of debt. Okay, it increases the cost of the asset. It increases the basis, your skin in the game, to allow paper and other losses to be recognized beyond what you actually have at risk. I know I'm saying this over and over again, but I want it to sink in. This is what makes real estate magical. Okay, so we looked at reasons to invest in real estate rather than equities. Buy, hold, and sell, pure speculation, like undeveloped land. You buy a lot, you think it's going to go up because a highway's coming through, and it's fairly active involvement, and you get deduction for real estate taxes. Okay, single-family real estate rental. You want to rent a house. You want to buy a house and rent it to neighbors. That's buy, rent, and hold. That's active involvement, and there are favorable tax treatment of losses. That's the $25,000. Let's say you want to buy 4 or 5 homes. You're getting you're energetic, you're ambitious, you want to provide for the future. Multiple home rental. This is active involvement. This favorable tax treatment of losses depends upon just how engaged you are in the management. Or you could go into multifamily syndication. These are private placements, passive involvement, and there's favorable tax treatment if you have tax basis. I think you've all heard of these syndications, private placements. Typically, they'll buy an apartment building and then put down 20% of the investor's money, and then they finance 80%.
Sure.
Okay, this is the big one, and this goes back to what Cheree was talking about at the beginning. Who really makes money long term? The real money in real estate is made when the mortgage is paid off, period. Family wealth accrues from owning residential and commercial real estate and giving it to one's heirs, unencumbered by debt. The kids get the benefit of your prudence and risk-taking, just so you know. It's also likely that the kids will simply sell to pocket the quick cash. That's always got to be in the back of your mind. Or if you live long enough, you will enjoy the benefits. You start doing this at age 40, pay off 30-year mortgages, enjoy your life in the mid-70s. Any questions on this, Cheree, or anything?
No, but that is a great point. I mean, I've seen people do well with regards to paying off their mortgages and being able to retire, because outside of healthcare, your housing expenses are like the biggest expense that you would have just personally. And then if you're able to pay off a couple of rental properties as well, I've seen families do great with that. The final thing is, yes, your heirs could pocket the cash, but also there are trusts that are, available. There are lawyers that know how to put trust in place so that your kids won't and can't sell the property when you die, or their crazy boyfriends and husbands or wives can't get their hands on it and take it away from the family. It goes down directly through blood heirs. So,
yes, Joe, you have something to say?
No, I just said great point, Cheree.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if you're prepared to do the work and accumulate multiple rental properties and barely break even until the mortgage is paid off, then this is for you. It's intense, but you are, as Cheree pointed out at the beginning, you're building wealth. And that's what this is all about. The tax breaks keep you from going broke. All right. Who likes losses? All right. The benefit here for the tax one is the ability to deduct losses from current operations, and that includes depreciation. In other words, that depreciation that you get, that's nice. But the other side of the coin is, can you deduct it? And the answer is yes, under certain circumstances. And that's what's going to give you most of your losses, the depreciation. Okay, why would anyone operate a business with losses? They would not, unless those losses were not real cash, or unless you foresaw terrific monster gains in the future. You would hold land, pay the property taxes, knowing that Walmart's going to build there, whatever. But if those losses are not real and cash flow is positive, and we expect a big gain on sale or hold this forever, then we have a product for you.
And I will
Okay.
add, Bruce.
Yeah.
I will add that at the Casa Group, we have creative options for our investors where they don't necessarily always have to take a loss, because we are in a market, as you are aware, you being in New York and me being in the Washington metropolitan area, that housing and mortgage costs are relatively high compared to rental rates. So strategic things such as strategic plans, such as Airbnb, doing short-term rentals, converting these properties into like assisted livings, like you said, apartment buildings, commercial buildings where you have stable tenants or triple net leases, and things such as even veteran housing, midterm housing, long-term housing, where you're getting the maximum amount of rent by renting out maybe per room or on a shorter time frame to prevent those losses. Because you're right, no one wants to have losses.
Good point. Thank you. Okay, now we get to the tall grass here, and this is the last part of my presentation because most people have an attention span of 20 minutes, and then they start yawning. Qualified real estate professional. Okay, I'm going to read this. Beginning in 1994, a real estate professional may treat rental real estate activities as non-passive. The IRS likes to use double negatives. Non-passive means active. If you materially participate. Okay, so to qualify as a real estate professional, you must spend more than 50% of your time in real estate activities and more than 750 hours in real estate activities. A real estate professional must materially participate in each rental activity. Okay, let me tell you what that actually means, because it's a little bit garbled there. What's really going on here? Congress wanted people connected to the real estate industry to get a tax break, the ability to recognize losses. They wanted to deny tax benefits to passive investors, a business person or professional seeking to build a portfolio. They didn't want those people simply hiring a manager and getting a break. That is the logic behind this. So if you are a real estate professional, then you are eligible for the tax breaks. And that's only if you materially participate in each property. Does that make sense? That's like you graduate from medical school. Fine. Does that mean you can do open heart surgery? No. You have to be board certified and learn a different skill. So real estate professional gets you in the door. So who's a real estate professional? It's an individual who's in the real property business. You could be a broker like Joe. You could be in development or redevelopment, acquisition, rental, management or operation, leasing. The taxpayer must meet time requirement. 50% of your time must be in the real property business, more than 750 hours during the year. Okay, so that gets you what I call the badge. You get the qualified real estate professional badge. If you can wear that badge, then under certain conditions, you can deduct your passive real estate losses. And you got to keep a log. this is an example from an IRS manual. Every time you go visit your property, you put down the date, the hours spent, and what you do. You have to prove that you spent over 500 hours a year on that particular property. So let me go back here. Okay, does that that's how you can deduct your if you have multiple properties and they're throwing off losses. You cannot, if you're just a passive investor, you cannot get those losses. You have to be a real estate professional. You may not have losses, or the losses, they you may have a positive cash flow. You're just not going to be able to deduct the excess losses from depreciation. That doesn't mean you're not enjoying the benefits of positive cash flow and the appreciation of the property. Does that make any sense?
Yes,
Makes a lot
I've
of sense.
heard of this when we have one spouse, let's say the husband, for example, who has a very high W-2 and he's trying to figure out ways to reduce his taxes. And then the wife, who is maybe a stay-at-home mother or something like that, becomes a real estate professional.
Yeah.
And she participates in, the management of the property and things like that. And in exchange for that, they're able to work together to reduce the household taxes. So that's where
Absolutely.
I've seen this strategy come in.
Yeah, and that says right there, one spouse alone must meet both tests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But the thing that people misunderstand, that's not Congress wants only people in the real estate business to get these big breaks. If you don't get this break, you still have a property which is cash flowing positive and appreciating in value. But since this seminar is about real estate taxes, I just want people to know that. Now, there's also a different section of the code. You can deduct up to $25,000 in rental real estate losses as long as you actively participate and your modified adjusted gross income is less than $100,000. This is for the small fry, if you want to use that word. Not a big investor, just one guy wants to buy a house and rent it out and see if he can make any money. You can do it, and you can deduct up to $25,000 in rental losses. And those are the main breaks. Okay, you get financial leverage with your debt. That creates extra depreciation, but you can only recognize that depreciation if you're a real estate professional. That doesn't mean that these aren't good investments. And any questions? I try to cover a lot in 20 minutes. I think I did, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You did an excellent job. So
I didn't want to get into the tall grass of what's material participation. I just want people to know that there's a form, and you better keep an activity log, something like this, on the penalties of perjury. In these worksheets that you put down. So you better, if you keep a log, you're fine, but you got to prove those hours. And I've seen many tax cases where they go to court and they give estimates in back of the envelope, and the tax court judge throws them out. So the benefits are there, and as Cheree pointed out, one spouse will actually do the managing of the property, and that's how you build wealth.
Yeah. Well, business is really about record keeping no matter what kind of business you're in. So it's, the responsibility that we have of being in business. Your real estate portfolio is a business. So, but these are the records that we have to keep. So if somebody is thinking about investing in their first property, let's say they're already a homeowner, they are thinking about investing in their first property. Do they come see you first? Do they go see a lawyer first? Do they go see a strategist like Joe first? How does somebody navigate the professionals that they should align themselves with? And when should they come see you? Before they buy their first property? After they purchase the property?
I would go to the broker first and do a back of the envelope calculation. Is this thing going to cash flow?
Understood. And And I, being the broker, deem that everyone should have a CPA on their team, no matter if they're buying property or just have their own house to live in.
Yeah, but you want to
But
go.
thank you, Bruce.
The broker's going to tell you what the neighborhood is like, what the chances are of getting at least, what kind of people are going to show up as tenants. I mean, the tax stuff is nice, but the thing has to make sense as a business.
Mm-hmm.
You're buying the property, you're not sure about the neighborhood. My advice for anyone buying any property is on the weekend, park your car near the property and stay in the car all night long. Because
all night.
A neighborhood might look quiet, but 2 a.m. it's a totally different. Might be people
Right.
riding bicycles in the street and motorcycles and just total mayhem. Whereas during the daytime, it looks very calm. That's my only advice is, just like a stakeout, sit in that car on a Saturday night, and a Friday night.
Great.
You agree with that?
Yeah. Advice, Bruce.
Yeah. That's all I have. And I kept nice and short. Everyone's still awake. Everyone's fully caffeinated.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I mean, there are lots of ways for you to make money in real estate and with real estate investing. And, one thing that you brought up, which I think is important, is your tax strategy is a part of it, but, you still are in the business of making money. So using the taxes as part of the strategy and not, I'm going to invest in real estate in order to be able to deduct, losses and depreciation and things like that is important as well. So,
because Bruce I've been working.
Go ahead.
Oh, my apologies. I've been working with Bruce for quite some time, and it makes my life 10 times easier when a person, and Cheree would know this as well, has their taxation documents in order to pass to someone like a Cheree, who's your lender, who will need those items. And, taxation's every single year, whereas you may or may not be buying a property every single year. Most of my clients are buying businesses or property pretty regularly, multiple times a year. However, a good CPA and a great mortgage lender on your team is paramount.
Yeah,
Okay.
It is. And I will say one other thing, just so people can recognize how I, as a lender, works with your tax documents. So what we do is we do add back the depreciation and any other non-cash transactions that are on your taxes. If, for example, you want to, move up to a new primary residence or something like that, but you've got these tax returns that show you didn't really make any money, we do back out, your real estate portfolio, the non-cash transactions that are on your taxes, things like that. So I don't want people to get concerned about that if you are, working on buying future properties for yourself and your family. So, Joe, what other advice do you have, since I got you captured here? You're just a wealth of information. What other pieces of advice do you have for future investors or current investors? Uh-oh, she froze.
I heard you.
On us. Yeah, she froze. She may have to come out and come back in. So Bruce, tell us, if you wouldn't mind, tell us, maybe give us an example of somebody you assisted that, had a real estate portfolio, real estate concern that you were able to help. Obviously, you don't have to divulge details, but
Yeah.
just give us an idea of some of the scenarios that people run into.
It wasn't. You can. It's called grouping. You have a. Let's say you have 5 properties,
Mm-hmm.
and you You have to show that you materially participate in each one of them, but you can make an election to aggregate them as one property and show that you spent the time on all of them. It counts towards all of them. In other words, one property might not take a lot of your time. So if you aggregate them together, you just have to meet the test for all of them and not each one individually.
Right.
That's an election. That's a very helpful thing that people overlook, and it's made each year.
That's great. That's great. Are there any times where real estate investing is not ideal for a person, outside of the property itself not being a good property and giving us negative cash flow? Are there any times where we would say to an individual, yeah, you really should just stick to stock investing or things that are quote unquote less risky?
Yeah, a lot of people don't have the head for it. They don't have the patience. I wouldn't advise anyone to buy New York office buildings right now.
That's true.
It's funny.
You think they're going to bounce back?
We don't know. The law firms and the banks are requiring people to be there. I was over Hudson Yards yesterday. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's the one where they had that big copper thing called the vessel. You ever see that?
Okay, I think so. I've seen that one. Yeah.
And that was pretty nice. It had a vibe to it. So parts of Manhattan are coming back, but they got a horrible legislature and a mayor, and they got 100,000 asylum seekers there, and it's really
there's a lot happening. Even though my understanding is he's trying to stop a lot of that now. It'll be interesting over the next few years to see how they manage that.
So as far as investing, it's funny. Somebody was handed down, let's say, from his family, his grandfather, an office building in Midtown Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
They thought, I'm going to live on the money from this thing forever. Well, if they didn't fix it up and put new improvements for high tech and cable and Wi-Fi, in a market like this, it may not be rented.
Right.
So
it's not competitive. Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you think, oh man, Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan, 42nd Street, I'm going to make money with this building my dad bought in 1952. Even that might not work. So, nothing is certain. Except death and taxes, as they say.
That's the truth.
So, but
Joe?
yeah.
Oh, she froze again.
Oh, she's meditating.
No, I think she keeps freezing. She was saying she was having trouble with her.
Okay, looks like I'm back. My apology.
It's a bandwidth.
Sorry. Right when you
we can hear you now.
Me something too.
Yeah, I was just asking you for any advice that you would have for real estate investors, especially our first timers that are out here listening. You have a wealth of knowledge that people would be, surprised to find out about. So I just want to give you a chance to give us some advice with regards to what you are looking at in the market and any ways that we can grow our portfolios. Oh, goodness, we lost her again. All right, everybody. Well, this is SimpliFunded. We are lenders. We love to focus on helping investors grow your portfolios. And I had Bruce here with us tonight. He is a tax expert. So if you need to hear this information again, you just, hit the replay. We also had Joe Lovett here. She is with the Casa Group. She is a real estate broker. Fabulous woman. If you are looking to build a real estate investment portfolio, she is a great person for that. And you all may be hearing my dogs downstairs. So that is it. It's SimpliFunded.com. SimpliFunded.com if you want to know more about investing and the loans you can get. All right. Oh no, I got to go downstairs. I gotta go downstairs. Okay, bye-bye.